Hi, Lorraine the Lawyer here to talk to you about a very, very important development internationally that we have seen, which is between Azerbaijan and Armenia. Just after midnight on Tuesday, 13th September 2022, Azerbaijan illegally invaded the sovereign territory of the Republic of Armenia. Azerbaijani armed forces intentionally targeted civilian communities of Armenia. Evidence gathered confirms that Azerbaijani war crimes targeted aggressive acts with the criminal intention of willful killings of civilians, destruction of their properties, and the entire communities. Azerbaijani soldiers killed and tortured military servicemen and civilians. They filmed and spread these crimes. Azerbaijani soldiers then acted with extreme cruelty and with confidence that not only will they not be punished, but they will be praised by their leaders. For example, in one video, we see an Armenian female soldier stripped and tortured, mutilated as well. In the same video, they mention at Azerbaijani that they killed 2 more Armenian female soldiers and showed the tortured body of one of them in the nude. The Azerbaijani government encourages these crimes, including by absolute impunity. By the time fighting stopped with tenuous ceasefire, more than 200 soldiers had been killed. 7,500 Armenians, civilians have now been displaced, and Azerbaijani troops had advanced more than 7 kilometers into sovereign territory of Armenia. Azerbaijani's illegal occupation of Armenian territories initiated in 2020 and its all-out invasion of Armenia in September 2022 have underlined the extent to which the fundamental principle of territorial integrity is under attack. This is an obvious war crime. International community must respond appropriately to prevent Azerbaijani crimes and genocidal policies. The president of Azerbaijan, the leaders of the special services, and the army should be brought under international criminal responsibility for this. How has the United States responded to Russian-Ukrainian conflict? The Biden administration's action to welcome Ukrainians began on March 3rd, when Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas announced the grant of temporary protective status, TPS, for 18 months for certain Ukrainians already presented in the United States. The program provides relief for deportation and work authorization. On April 21st, the administration announced plans to welcome up to 100,000 Ukrainians through a combination of Uniting for Ukraine program, a private sponsorship program that aims to temporarily bring displaced Ukrainians to the United States. The program is a new streamlined process that provides a pathway to Ukrainians and their immediate family members to come to the United States under parolee status for an initial period of 2 years, renewable, and then apply for employment authorization, provided U.S.-based sponsors agree to provide them with financial support during their stay here. In more ad hoc fashion, the United States government admitted a reported 20,000 Ukrainians who arrived at the U.S.-Mexico border without authorization to then enter. The practice was ended in late April. Among other measures undertaken by the U.S. government relating to the Ukrainian crisis, we're considering the full range of legal pathways, including U.S. refugee admission program, humanitarian parolee, and expediting visas. The question is, what should the U.S. do about Armenia? The U.S. should stand by, calling for a bilateral negotiated settlement that delivers a ceasefire and respects the territorial integrity of the Republic of Armenia. Meanwhile, the U.S. should provide Armenians who have fled the Azerbaijani aggression opportunities to come to the United States, like the U.S. government-supported people affected by the Ukrainian crisis. It is critically important from both a humanitarian perspective and to preserve the norms of refugee protection that all those fleeing the Azerbaijani aggression in Armenia have equal access to protection. The United States should match that and provide critical support through humanitarian action on assisting those forcibly displaced from the conflict. The Biden administration should work to rebuild capacity to resettle Armenian refugees to the United States. The United States can and should increase the number of refugees it accepts annually, as well as process these individuals' applications more quickly. The United States should support the Armenian people as they flee Azerbaijani's aggression and to rapidly address critical needs that arise due to ongoing conflict. People forcibly displaced from Armenia face many challenges common to all refugees. Part of what it means to stand with Armenia in the face of Azerbaijan's Azerbaijani aggression is to ensure that all those forced to flee Armenia, regardless of their race or country of origin, find protection. Now is a time to reaffirm those commitments to Armenians who are forcibly displaced and facing armed conflict in the current moment. All individuals must have the ability to seek refuge and receive asylum when displaced by persecution or violence, regardless of what continent they live on. U.S. efforts to protect Armenians should reinforce these norms of protection for all, and humanitarian efforts and attention should reflect that. Additionally, the United States should ensure that Armenians already present in the United States are protected from deportation to danger in their homeland. The administration is authorized by statute to designate a country for temporary protected status when there is a temporary emergency, such as an armed conflict, that would make return to that country unsafe. Armenia clearly qualifies for such a designation. Likewise, the United States should designate specific refugee allotments for Armenians fleeing the fighting in Armenia, while also providing humanitarian parole status for those who already fled Armenia and are arriving at U.S. borders via other countries. Armenians displaced by Azerbaijani attack have a right to come to the United States to ask for safety, and it is really the Armenians nation's moral obligation, as well as U.S. obligation, to really have that mutual respect for each other. As we do, as the U.S. has expressed also in World War II, and we would hope to see in many other conflicts going forward. What avenues do Armenians currently have to come to the U.S.? Number one, we want to look at O1 visas. It's often a myth that people can only get those that are at the very, very top of the field. In fact, this is a temporary visa type that is available to those that have a distinction in their field. There is something about them that causes them to stand out as per others in their field. Persons with extraordinary ability or achievements in sciences, arts, education, business, athletics, or extraordinarily recognized achievements in the motion picture and television business. There was such a wide variety of different types of industries that they can come from and can actually qualify for this visa type. So I really encourage you all to sign up for a consultation so that we can determine what your options are and step in and help. So also it does include people who will perform support services for the O1 visa holder, but generally people who have been providing those services for a period of time before the visa application. Also, there is the E2 visa. There is a treaty relationship between the U.S. and Armenia, and this allows for those that are starting their own businesses and have at least 50% Armenian owned of the company. They have to be Armenian to come and set up their companies in the United States and also achieve a temporary visa status that is renewable. Investments must ensure the successful operation of the company with a substantial amount of investment committed and irrevocable. It cannot be a paper organization with uncommitted wealth, though. Must provide much more income than just enough to support the visa applicant and the applicant's family, or it must have a significant economic impact in the United States. The applicants must control the funds, and the funds must be at risk of loss due to commercial forces. So it's really in a situation where the applicants are coming to the United States to direct and develop an enterprise. If the applicant is not a principal investor, they must be part of management, an essential employee, or have a highly specialized skill. Remember, American citizens can also sponsor Armenian relatives into the United States under the standard green card criteria as well. So in conclusion, there are other types of status as well that we can look at, as well as helping you to secure a third country national appointment through other countries that may be safer at this time, as you may not actually be in Armenia right now, but would seek to come through other continents to safely make it into the United States and on a proper visa status. Please contact us. In conclusion, Azerbaijan's invasion of Armenia will have widespread global implications, including the forcible displacement of thousands of individuals. We urge the United States to do all they can to mitigate this crisis and share the responsibility of assisting all people fleeing Armenia. The last war in 2020 was very bloody and displaced tens of thousands of people, and the events of this week show that the region is still a powder keg waiting for a spark. That is exactly why it is important to consider either getting your family members, your business associates, or your investments out of Armenia now while things are still relatively peaceful. The entire visa or family sponsorship process is incredibly complicated, and having an attorney, especially an attorney with a proven track record like us, helping you to is very incredibly important. Unfortunately, if a full-scale conflict breaks out, the entire visa process may become overloaded, wait times may skyrocket, or even worse may happen. We can already see the prices of tickets, flight tickets, going sky high. Now is the time to start the process before any potential disaster, and while you can find an attorney like me who can actually help you smoothly navigate the process or even appeal a denial if there are complications. Our thorough knowledge of immigration law, as well as our dedication to our clients, means that you can count on your case processing as quickly as possible.